Hey, Tom No, CMO from Atomic Enrollment. So today we need to have a serious talk about cost per lead as a success metric. We talk to so many vocational, career trade schools, and they're always like, hey, we need to have a good cost per lead. What's a good cost per lead? Our ads are going well because cost per lead is super low. Cost per lead, cost per lead. All the conversations are surrounded by cost per lead for some reason. So we're gonna break this down. And if you think your marketing is successful for your vocational training program because you get a lead for about $5 to $10 from advertising, that's a red flag. In this video, I'm gonna show you why cheap leads are actually the most expensive thing you can buy, and I'm gonna walk you through how to reverse engineer the math to calculate exactly what you should be paying per lead to maximize your profit that hits your bank account and not just vanity metrics. So recently we onboarded a new audio engineering school. We got on a call with their previous marketer as we're doing the handoff, and they were bragging about how successful their Google and Meta campaigns were because their cost per lead was under $10. But they should have been asking, hey, if things are going so well, why are we on this call and why are you guys getting offboarded and why are we getting onboarded, right? Obviously, the math wasn't mathing for the company. So we did an audit of their Google and Meta ads and we saw some red flags, and we told them we're gonna kill certain campaigns. But they were telling us, hey, those campaigns were actually very successful. They were very adamant. They were like, it's very successful. And we were like, why? What's the cost per enrollment on those? And they were saying, we're not sure, but it's successful because the cost per lead was under $10. So we asked them for any downstream metrics such as connection rates out of all those leads. What percentage do you guys talk to? Or the show rates? What was the cost per enrollment from those campaigns? And they had nothing. They said, we don't track that. So they were mostly lighting $20,000 a month, their monthly ad budget, on fire to fill a spreadsheet with names of people who are most likely never going to enroll. You have to remember, Meta and Google are businesses. Their objective is to take your money. So if you tell them, get me the cheapest leads possible as a campaign objective, they will happily oblige. They will find you click happy people, the bots, the people who autofill forms by accident while scrolling at 2 a.m. in the morning. And the platform's gonna report back, hey, success, because we got you a cheap lead, but you need to track the real result in the back end. So for a trade or vocational career training program, we're talking about a tuition, let's say about $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. This is a massive life decision. It's not an impulse buy like buying a t-shirt. Qualified people cost more to acquire for 3 specific reasons. The ad algorithms know people's net worth, not their literal financial net worth, but Meta and Google generally know who has purchasing power and who takes serious action. It literally costs a higher CPM, meaning how much does it cost to get in front of 1,000 people to bid for the attention of high intent user versus a low intent user? You have to pay to get in front of the right eyeballs. 2, friction filters out the noise. To get a good lead, you need to add friction to your lead collection process, like asking more questions on the form or requiring a written answer. This naturally lowers your lead volume and raises your lead cost, but it's gonna skyrocket your connection rates and overall metrics on the back end. You are paying to repel the tire kickers so your admissions team and salespeople don't waste their time. 3, frequency and trust. A serious student needs to see your ad about 5, 10, 15 times before they trust you enough to apply and talk about next steps. Cheap leads usually come from one-click interactions. Quality leads come from people who have been nurtured, and nurturing costs some money. But obviously we do it the most efficient way. So most importantly, how do you know how much to pay per lead? So first, you need to stop thinking about literally cost per lead and start thinking about cost per enrollment. Best way to do it is with financial modeling, because you could literally reverse engineer and clearly see your cost per lead. What's an acceptable cost per lead range where your advertising is still going to be very profitable? Take a look here. This is how we literally do it for our clients. Let's say your program tuition, your program cost is $15,000 here. And roughly, let's say you decide you're willing to spend 10% of that to acquire a student. Whatever the general feasible cost per enrollment number is you'd like to be at, we could reverse engineer it back into. So let's say for example's sake, it's 10%, $1,500 cost per enrollment. That's what we're targeting. So let's say historically, you got to take a look at some historical numbers as well. Your team, out of all the leads that come in, they close about 5% of the leads. So let's put that as an assumption, 5% closing rate. So let's back into some numbers here. Let's say we're spending about $5,000 on ads and We get a lead for $35 a lead. Out of the leads that come in, 80% of the leads actually schedule something on the calendar with your team to talk about next steps. 60% of those leads who scheduled an actual time, a meeting with your team, 60% of those actually end up showing up and actually talk to your team. And then out of all the people that you guys talk to, you guys close 5% of them. So that's 4 enrollments. That comes out to about cost per enrollment of $12.50. So you could play with these numbers, right? You're like, wow, even for $35 a lead, you have a really good cost per enrollment that's actually under what you wanted. Let's say that's actually $40, right? At $40 a lead, you're pretty much on target with your cost per enrollment costs. So let's take a look at the alternative scenario of cheap cost per lead, cheap leads, right? So let's say you get a lead for $10. You're still spending $5,000 a month on advertising. You get a lead for $10 and you're like, wow, $10 lead, great. But remember, these are bad quality leads. So out of all the leads that come in, you're gonna have more volume, but only 10% are actually gonna reach out and schedule time to talk to your team, let's say, right? It's gonna be a way lower number than a good lead. And then out of the people who schedule time to talk to your team, about half, just a lower rate of people you're gonna actually talk to and connect with and have a real conversation with. And then let's say the close rate's still the same. So you're closing one lead, one enrollment, and that's a $5,000 cost per enrollment. So you see the difference here? Cheap leads actually could be the most expensive thing. So this is how you just gotta do the math, reverse engineer the math, and then that's how you arrive at a digestible, profitable cost per lead. See, that's the paradox. Expensive leads result in cheaper, more profitable cost per enrollment most of the time. Now, there are outlier cases where you get, $5, $10, $15 cost per lead, and it's still really good quality leads. We have some programs like that actually, and it's because, honestly, we're not tooting our own horn, but it's because of the content first ad strategy we deploy. In typical just door knocking ads, you won't necessarily get that good cost per lead, but the way we do it, you could get that and still have wildly successful back-end metrics. And even think about it, right? Let's say we just get a good quality lead and it's actually $20. Your cost per enrollment's it's like $800. So it still happens, but you just got to model it out. So stop optimizing just for cost per lead, start optimizing for enrollment, because if you don't know your back-end conversion numbers, you're flying blind. We have this financial projections model calculator. If you guys would like access to something like this, just hit us up and you guys can plug in the numbers and do your own projections as well. There you have it. Hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. Take care. Bye.